That summer, I thought I was going to a lake house to hang out with my best friend. I didn't expect to be tested, not by nature, not by fear, and definitely not by someone I once looked up to. I knew something was off the second Noah looked at me. It wasn't the kind of look a friend's dad gives you. It wasn't even inappropriate. Not yet. But it lingered, quiet, measured, and it landed somewhere deep in my chest. Aaron and I had just pulled up to his dad's lake house for a long weekend. Our last real break before college. This place had always been our escape. Summer swims, late-night fire pits, inside jokes that hadn't aged well. Noah was just part of the background noise. Friendly, chill, a guy who grilled burgers and handed us beers without blinking. But this summer, something had changed, and I felt it before anything even happened. It was hot that day, the kind of humid that sticks to your skin. Aaron ran inside to grab towels. Noah stepped out onto the porch and waved. Same relaxed grin, same easy posture. But his eyes, that's where I got stuck. "You made it," he said, voice light. "Place has been too quiet without your nonsense." I laughed like I was supposed to, but I didn't feel light. The first day passed like old times. Swimming, snacks, beer. Noah joined us out on the dock, joking with Aaron, tossing me glances I pretended not to notice. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe I wasn't. By nightfall, I had convinced myself it was just a weird moment. A flicker. Gone. But the second day changed everything. Aaron got a call from his girlfriend back in the city. Her project had collapsed. She needed help rebuilding it. He looked torn, apologized, promised he'd be back by dinner. I told him it was fine. Truth was, I liked the quiet. For a minute, it felt good, until Noah came looking for me. I was stretched out on the deck, half asleep in the sun, when I heard his footsteps. I opened my eyes to find him standing at the edge of the dock. Arms crossed, gaze steady. "Sauna's on if you're feeling cooked," he said. I blinked, sat up. Didn't know it still worked. "Cleaned it out this morning. You'll love it." Part of me wanted to say no. Something in his voice, the way he said, "You'll love it," made my stomach tighten. But I nodded. Told myself I was imagining things. Told myself this was normal. The sauna was already warm when I stepped in. I sat on the top bench, closed my eyes, let the heat sink into my skin. For a few minutes, I let myself believe I was alone. Then the door opened. "Hope you don't mind," Noah said, stepping in with a towel over his shoulder. Didn't want to waste the steam. I shifted, heart suddenly loud. "No, it's fine." He sat opposite me. Silence. Steam hissed on the rocks. I stared at the wooden floor, willing myself to stay calm. "You and Aaron," he said after a while. "You've been friends since middle school, right?" "Yeah, since 8th grade." "He's lucky," Noah said. "You've always had his back." I nodded, throat dry. I wasn't sure what this was. A compliment? A test? "I watch you sometimes," he added. I froze. "I mean," he continued, "I notice things." "You hold a lot in." I couldn't answer. The walls felt closer, my own breathing too loud. Noah didn't move, just sat there, watching. "You don't talk much when Aaron's not around." "I guess I'm tired," I said quickly. "You're not tired," he said. "You're scared." I looked up then, met his eyes, and for the first time I didn't know what to say. "Don't worry," he said, standing. "I won't make you talk, but you should think about why you came here." Then he left. I stayed another 10 minutes, sweating in silence, heart rattling. When I stepped outside, the breeze felt like a slap. I wrapped the towel tighter, walked fast toward the cabin. Inside, the place was empty. I went straight to my room and shut the door. My reflection stared back from the mirror, skin flushed, eyes wide. I didn't recognize myself. I sat on the bed, tried to breathe. Was this nothing? Was this just a weird sauna chat? But no matter how I spun it, something about Noah's tone, his words, clung to me like the heat. And the worst part? A small, dangerous part of me didn't hate the attention. The next morning I woke up early, or maybe I never really slept. My body felt heavy, like I'd run a marathon in my dreams. Downstairs the cabin was quiet. Aaron still hadn't returned. Just me, the lake, and the silence I didn't ask for. I stepped out onto the dock, hoping the sun would clear my head. It didn't. I watched the water ripple and thought about the sauna, about Noah, about the way he'd said, "You're scared," like it was a fact, not a guess. Why did it get under my skin? I told myself to drop it. I even believed it. For about 5 minutes. Then I heard footsteps behind me. Couldn't sleep either? Noah's voice broke through the stillness. I turned. Just needed air. He stood a few feet away, arms folded, studying. The water. It's always quietest before breakfast. That's why I like it. I nodded, not looking at him. Every part of me was on edge. Yesterday got weird, he said plainly. I froze. You felt it too, right? I turned to him. What do you mean? He gave me a long look, then shook his head like I'd disappointed him. You don't have to pretend. I'm not pretending anything, I said, sharper than I meant to. I'm just saying, he replied calmly. Some things are easier when you stop lying to yourself. I didn't come here for this, I muttered. He raised an eyebrow. Then why are you still here? That stopped me. I didn't answer. I didn't know how. Noah sighed like he was tired of playing teacher. I'm not going to push you, he said, but I see more than you think. And with that, he walked away. The rest of the morning dragged. I tried reading, I paced, I swam out past the buoy just to exhaust myself. It didn't help. By noon, Aaron still wasn't back. I checked my phone. One text. Running late. Don't wait on me for dinner. I didn't respond. Instead, I sat on the edge of the dock again, watching the sun climb higher, feeling my thoughts churn. Noah hadn't done anything wrong. Not really. No lines crossed, no accusations. Just a look, a tone, a presence that lingered too long. But it was enough. And maybe that's what scared me most. That I noticed, that I remembered, that I couldn't stop wondering what it meant. Late afternoon, I went inside to grab a soda. I didn't expect him to be in the kitchen. Noah looked up from the counter, slicing fruit like it was just another Tuesday. You hungry? I shook my head. You've barely eaten today. I'm good. He rinsed his hands and dried them on a towel, then turned toward me. His expression was unreadable. Calm, maybe. Maybe too calm. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable, he said. I opened the fridge just to avoid eye contact. It's fine. It's not. You're avoiding me. I straightened. You're not exactly making it easy. I'm being honest, he said. That's more than most people do. Yeah? Well, maybe I didn't ask for that. Silence filled the room. Not awkward, sharp, controlled. I'm not trying to mess with your head, Micah. Then what are you doing? He looked at me for a long time before answering. Trying to understand why I see so much of myself in you. I blinked. What's that supposed to mean? You carry things. You think too much. You look like you want to disappear half the time. I wanted to deny it, but I couldn't. I didn't come here to be seen like that, I said. Most people don't, he replied. But once it happens, it's hard to go back. I left before he could say more. Back in my room, I stared at the ceiling until the light outside began to fade. I thought about telling Aaron everything. But what would I even say? Your dad's acting weird and I'm confused? That night, we didn't have dinner. We didn't talk. I waited until the house was quiet, then slipped out the back and sat on the steps alone. The lake glowed under the moon. It looked peaceful, but I didn't feel peaceful. I felt like I was unraveling, like someone had peeled back a layer I'd spent years building. Noah hadn't touched me, hadn't said anything directly. But the things he did say, the way he looked at me, made me question everything. About myself, about him, about what I wanted or didn't want, or was afraid to admit. And the worst part, I didn't know where this ended, or if I wanted it to end at all. The next morning, I didn't go near the dock. I waited until I heard Noah leave the cabin. Toolbox in hand, probably heading for the boathouse. Only then did I slip into the kitchen, grab a piece of toast, and head back to my room. Avoidance had become my new routine. Aaron still wasn't back. I kept checking my phone like that would somehow change things. No missed calls, just the last text. Sorry, stuck overnight. Work emergency. You okay? I didn't answer. I wasn't sure I was okay. I heard the door creak open downstairs, then footsteps. Light, purposeful. I held still. Maybe he'd go outside again. But then came a knock. 3 soft taps on my door. Micah? Noah's voice was calm. Too calm. I didn't answer. He waited a beat. You don't have to talk. I just want to say something. Another pause. I'll be out back if you change your mind. I listened as his steps faded down the hall, and for a moment I thought that was it. But 20 minutes later I found myself walking toward the back porch. Something in me needed answers. Or closure. Maybe both. Noah was sitting on the steps facing the lake. When he heard me behind him, he didn't turn. I didn't think you'd come. I didn't either, I said. We sat in silence for a while. The lake shimmered. Wind pushed through the trees. I don't know what you want from me, I said finally. Noah looked out at the water. Nothing you don't want to give. That's not an answer. He exhaled, slow. I see something in you. Something familiar. It's like looking at myself, years ago, before I had the words. That's not fair, I said. I didn't ask for this. I know, but you didn't walk away either. That hit harder than I expected. I stayed because I didn't know what was happening, I snapped. Not because I wanted any of this. He turned to me now. But something in you did, didn't it? I stood. You're my best friend's dad. That doesn't change what's real. It should, I said louder now. It has to. He stood too, slower than me. I'm not trying to confuse you, Micah. But you are. You've made everything confusing. I'm just being honest. No, I said, voice cracking. You're being selfish. He flinched but didn't deny it. You knew I looked up to you. You knew I trusted you. And you used that. I never touched you, he said. You didn't have to. That silence, that admission, hung between us like fog, heavy, undeniable. I thought I was helping you see something, he said after a moment. Maybe you were, I said, but not like this. His eyes met mine, for once unsure. I saw the cracks in him, not a predator, but a man who had blurred too many lines in the name of honesty. I think you need to leave me alone, I said. He nodded. If that's what you want. It is. I turned and walked back inside. My legs felt weak, my throat tight. I didn't cry, not yet, but something inside me had fractured. The rest of the day passed in a haze. I packed my things. I sat on the edge of the bed, replaying every moment from the sauna to this morning. I thought about Aaron, the one person who had never made me question myself, and I hated that his dad had stolen that sense of safety. When the sun began to set, I stepped outside again. The dock was empty. So was the shoreline. I didn't know what Noah was thinking. I didn't want to. I only knew one thing. Something had changed in me. Not because of what Noah saw, but because of what I had finally admitted. I wasn't running because I was scared. I was walking away because I finally knew where the line was, and I wasn't going to cross it. Aaron's car pulled into the driveway just after 8 a.m. the next day. I heard the crunch of tires, the door slam, the sound of his usual energy filling the quiet again. For a second, I felt relief, then dread. I met him on the porch before he reached the door. Hey, man, he said, tossing me a grin. Sorry for the delay. Everything cool? I nodded. We need to talk. His face shifted. What's wrong? Not here, I said. Let's go down to the dock. He followed me without asking questions. We sat at the edge, feet dangling above the water, the same way we had 100 times before. Only this time, everything was different. I've been weird, I started. Yeah, Aaron said, not unkindly, but I figured it was college nerves. It's not just that. He waited. I need to say something, I continued, forcing each word out like it was stuck. Your dad and I, we've had some awkward moments. He didn't do anything, not exactly, but things got complicated. Aaron blinked. What do you mean complicated? I couldn't meet his eyes. He said things about how I carry things, about how I look at him, about how he sees himself in me, and it felt like more than it should. Aaron was silent, completely still. I didn't cross a line, I added, but I stayed too long in the space where there wasn't one. Another beat of silence. Did he try something? Aaron asked, voice low. No, I said, but he said enough to make it feel close. Aaron nodded slowly, jaw tight. Why are you telling me? Because you're my friend, and you deserve to know. I don't want to lie. I don't want to act like nothing happened when something did, even if it was all in the space between words. He rubbed his hands together, exhaled hard. I appreciate you telling me, he said, and I'm glad nothing happened. But I gotta admit, this is a lot. I know, I said. You don't have to say anything else. We sat there for a long time, not speaking. The lake lapped softly beneath us. Somewhere in the distance, a bird called, but nothing inside me felt calm. I was waiting for anger, for him to storm off, for everything to end. Instead, he said, I'm not mad at you. I turned. You're not? You were honest. That matters. I nodded, not trusting my voice. But I'm mad at him, Aaron added. I get that. He's always been the cool dad, the laid-back guy. I never thought he'd look at someone that way, let alone someone my age, let alone you. He stood, suddenly restless. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. You don't have to do anything, I said. I'm leaving today. Aaron looked at me. Is that what you want? Number. But it's what's right. He nodded, then gave a short laugh. Well, this summer turned out different. I smiled, thin but real. Yeah, didn't see that plot twist coming? We walked back together, the silence less heavy now. Back at the cabin, Noah was on the porch, mug in hand. He watched us approach, eyes unreadable. Aaron went straight past him, didn't say a word. I stopped. I told him, I said. Noah looked at me for a long moment. I figured. You should know, I added. This isn't about shame. It's about trust, and lines that shouldn't have been blurred. He gave a slow nod. I was careless. You were. I'm sorry, he said, for making you feel trapped. I'm not trapped anymore, I said. Then I walked inside, packed my bag, and texted my mom to come early. By noon, I was standing by the car, duffel in hand, Aaron beside me. We good? I asked. We'll figure it out, he said. And I believed him. As the car pulled away, I didn't look back. That summer wasn't what I expected. It didn't end with fireworks or bonfires or promises. But it ended with the one thing I needed more than any of that. Clarity. I didn't talk about that summer for a long time. Not because I was ashamed. I wasn't. But because I needed time to understand what had actually happened. Not just between me and Noah, but inside me. College started a few weeks after I left the lake house. New place, new people. The kind of clean slate everyone romanticizes. I didn't reinvent myself. I just stopped pretending I didn't feel things. I didn't label it. I didn't rush to explain. I gave myself the space no one ever offered me, to feel without pressure, to question without expectation. Aaron and I didn't talk for the first couple months, not out of anger, just space, necessary space. He texted me in late October. You ever think about that summer? Yeah, all the time. Me too. Want to catch up over break? We met at a coffee shop in our hometown. It was weird at first, then it wasn't. I still don't really get it, Aaron said, but I get you, and I trust you. That was enough. Noah never reached out. I think he knew better. Maybe he